Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa and I decided to do my BCP on my work, Mocha Moose. Mocha Moose is a coffee hut that I currently work at. For the template of this BCP, I went ahead and used the template from page 132. I thought it was basic enough that I could make my own customizations to it to fit my business. My BCP ended up being about 23 pages, and the first bullet point section in the template on page 132 was a statement of policy. I read through the description and I kind of decided that my executive summary that I made for class would be a better fit in place of the statement of policy. So I went ahead and put my executive summary in my BCP. I just thought that it says the mission of Mocha Moose. It says what this BCP is going to ensure and what it's going to do for Mocha Moose. As far as purpose and scope go, for the purpose, I kind of just quickly explain it that this BCP is going to provide structure, it's going to provide employees responsibilities and general procedures to follow in the event of emergency. For the scope, it was pretty straightforward. There's only one coffee hut, and Daniel Deuce only owns this one location, so the scope is strictly limited to the single business location of this Mocha Moose on South Cushman. For my objectives, the main thing I thought here was, kind of what are some of our goals? Providing employees with a sense of security, safety, preparedness, be able to minimize any financial loss to Mocha Moose, our sales, our operations if we can help it. It's going to help employees and managers learn how to prioritize communications and follow specific procedures. For assumptions, I kind of assumed that this BCP is going to be updated regularly. I put semi-annually. I thought that would be a good timing to update the BCP. I'm going to assume that at least 1 to 2 baristas in the coffee hut will be prepared, will be trained on the contents of this plan and know what to do. I think all of our employees and the team has a general understanding of how to effectively communicate to one another in the event of a crisis. And I think this plan just allows for prompt decision making during a crisis. I'm also going to assume that maybe utilities are going to be interrupted, including water delivery or maybe our power. For the damage assessment of my BCP, I split it into 2 phases. The first phase is going to be a rapid assessment of just overall reporting the emergency, quickly estimating the overall damage, what happened, categorize it, is there anyone hurt? That's going to be reported. And then phase 2 will come in. And this is going to be a more thorough and structured attempt of assessing the overall damage, how many people were hurt. The manager and owner will come in and evaluate any losses, damage. I'm assuming that operations will probably be halted, but that's what that section goes through. For invocation criteria, this section took me the longest, just because I really had to think about what would make the most sense for Mocha Moose and what would be the most productive and make the most sense to all of us in the business. So I went ahead and said that activation of this plan could be done by either the owner or the manager. Usually they're always available. It is very rare that we can't get a hold of either of them, but if that's the case, I went ahead and stated in there that the baristas who are working are going to be able to activate the plan themselves. So I went ahead and did 3 levels of crisis in here, 1 being a limited crisis, 3 being a little bit more major, well, a lot major. And I said some examples to help define each level. Very quickly for level 1, I did power outage. Maybe the breaker just flipped. I think that's what happens, where you just have to open up the metal box on the wall and flip the switches. So, maybe the barista can just do that. We don't have to call in the manager. We don't have to call in the owner. Level 2 would be something for like sexual assault at the window. There's lots of creepy customers out there. It wouldn't be, that's just an example. Like maybe we would have to have the owner or manager come in, maybe not. And then level 3 is going to be if we get held at gunpoint and they say, give me all your money, or a fire, or the building collapses. That level, we will absolutely call for help, the police, the owner, and it gives step-by-step kind of instructions on what to do. For plan activation, that's what's going to happen. I put kind of as an overall side note right at the end that in the event that circumstances are still unclear and you're still debating on whether or not you should activate it, I just put it's better to activate this plan than to not. And I know the owners would want that. For plan deactivation, I went ahead and said that that's going to be determined by the owner when it's going to be deactivated and when our recovery is going to start. For order of succession, I went ahead, very simple, very straightforward, owner, manager. There's kind of a lead barista, but she doesn't really have that title, but the next would probably be her and then any of the other baristas. For the organization structure, the business structure, again, very simple. It's just owner to manager, manager to baristas, and the other way. This is just quick, simple, allows for prompt decision making during an incident. For communication of information, we do almost everything by cell phone. We don't have business emails, we don't have a landline, nothing like that. For this part of the BCP section, I went ahead and put team member telephone numbers, emergency phone numbers. I put an emergency operations center just as the owner's house, home office, if we, for whatever reason, can't meet at the coffee hut. That's where we would meet. For internal and external dependencies, I took the critical functions of Mocha Moose and I determined whether they were internal or external, and then I went ahead and described how each and every one is dependent on one another. As far as documenting expenses go, I know that this would strictly be the responsibility of the owner and the manager. The baristas would have no part in this. If they decided to bring in a professional, they would. I went ahead and added 2 different forms that they would be able to use to help keep track of expenses and just assessing the impact of the damage, the incurred cost, estimated expenditures, sorry. Oops. Recovery evaluation. Okay, so this part I actually kind of added in myself. This wasn't a part of the template, but I thought it was really important because this business is so small. I just thought it would be a great opportunity to add this in because I don't think it wouldn't just be easy to do, but it would be fairly simple to incorporate, and it would have a lot of benefits, and it would be at no cost. I mean, we could do this at the end of the night. I went ahead and also added a form in there that you can use on lessons learned, and then this form can later be used to update the BCP if needed. For plan distribution, this is just going to be distributed to the owner, manager, and employees. Oops. Exercise. So for the exercise, I kind of added in there one exercise that's pretty universal. The exercising and testing is going to be semi-annually. I thought that's good timing to do a refresher and update it. This will just evaluate the adequacy of how the BCP is doing and whether it needs to be updated. So again, this exercise that I put in here can be customized. You can take things out, you can put things in, you can change the scenario, tweak it a little bit. And then for plan maintenance, the owner and manager are going to be responsible for the maintenance and the further development of this plan. And I think it would be best if this plan was reviewed annually just to make sure that there's nothing missing. If anything needs to be added, they can add it. And then as far as confidentiality goes, I think this BCP should just be confidential to the people who it's addressed to, and it shouldn't be disclosed to any other parties. And if the document needs to be shared for whatever reason, I think consent by Daniel, the owner, should be given. But anyways, this is my BCP. Yeah, thanks for listening.